greater African Caribbean engagements, collaborations, strength, and self-reliance. These were the sentiments and aspirations that we brought with us when on the 7th of September 2021, the heads of government of Africa and the Caribbean staged the first Africa CARICOM Heads of Government Summit. What was truly significant about the summit was the very concrete, groundbreaking initiatives and projects that were agreed to and that were outlined in the communiqué issued at the conclusion of the summit. We reaffirmed our commitment to uphold and strengthen multilateralism, and urged the need to reform international financial institutions in order to ensure greater inclusion and equitable representation, called for the lifting of unilateral economic sanctions and embargoes against Cuba and Zimbabwe, and committed ourselves to press for reparative justice. Without doubt, this is a very relevant and visionary agenda, but it must be acknowledged that 2 years on, much still needs to be done to operationalize it. Furthermore, one can argue that events that have taken place over the past 2 years have made the need for Africa and the Caribbean community to establish institutions of collaboration and coordination even more compelling. I refer to such events as the constantly deepening security, governance, and humanitarian crisis in our Caribbean nation, Haiti, as well as the military coup in the West African nation of Niger, and the deadly and tragic civil wars that have so scarred the nations of Ethiopia and Sudan. I also wish to reiterate and re-emphasize that the AU and CARICOM must join forces and fight for a greater presence, a greater input and say in all the important international policy and decision-making institutions and processes. Similarly, Africa and the Caribbean, the AU and CARICOM must join forces to establish as a central principle of international law and policy that the nations and peoples of Africa and the Caribbean are now possessed of a fundamental and non-negotiable right to development with the appropriate assistance. Indeed, this principle is at the very heart of reparative justice. The campaign that we in CARICOM are inviting the AU to join us in. There is so much for us in the AU and CARICOM to do and accomplish